This episode is for Friday, March 18th, 2016. Welcome, Crater fans. I'm your host, Josh Owens, along with my regular co-host,
Ben Strahan.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Hey, man.
Been a while.
Dude, your microphone sounds great this week.
Yeah. Oh, my God. That's terrible. Oh, now your internet's cutting out.
Oh!
It froze for a second. Just don't move.
Last week was your microphone. This week's my internet connection.
Yeah, it's funny.
Technology.
Yeah, so like Abby didn't tell me my mic was like sounding garbled. And then like we did a podcast immediately afterwards for Elm for the Space Dojo show, and like you're like, your mic sounds terrible. And so I ended up switching to the regular mic. I even tried rebooting my computer and everything, and I have no idea like why that happened. It seems to have been fine ever since then.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah.
All right, Abby, little sidekick tip. You
got to say something.
You got to say something. You got to speak up.
If you see something, say something. This is the NSA. I mean, oops.
Yeah.
All right.
Very cool. Very cool. I love it when Abby's on the show.
Yeah, he does a good job. I like Abby.
We are one big happy family here.
Indeed.
Over on the Creator Podcast.
Indeed. You know what's interesting is like, so he did the hosting one with me, and then like today you're going to record the hosting one with Sashko and Rohit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you'll be kind of hitting the same topic from a different angle.
That's right. Yep. Yeah. It is very interesting. I just had to, I was just prepping for it before this show. I'm going to be going right into the transmission show after this one. And we have some great questions lined up.
Nice. Yeah. Like, one of them in my mind, like reading the forums, like I appreciate Matt replying, but at the same time, he said something like, they're spending $10K a week, that's insane. Really? Like, that's crazy. So I understand like why they want to shut this down quickly.
Yeah.
Maybe they could have done like a quick opt-in form. Like I'd be happy to say like take all my crap off the books.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so that's like $52K a year, right?
Yeah.
And it's like if you extend hosting for a month or two.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's $500,000.
Yes.
Yeah.
$500,000 a year.
Yeah. So I was doing the math, and that's crazy to me. But at the same time, like that number didn't change in the week or two since he went from like it's going to be free forever and we're going to get it all fixed to like.
That's my question. There also was a hint from other MDG members, like going back more than a month, that they were asking about what the very popular packages are. Want to give them free Galaxy hosting.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, if that conversation was being had, then so. But Matt even alluded to. Now we're like getting off topic, but Matt alluded to like there was like a disconnect in communication in MDG.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get to the bottom of it. I'm going to see what's up. I'm going to ask, I want to know, so we know how much money it's costing them. Matt and everyone also said it's costing them engineering time, taken away from features that they want to introduce to people who are paying for Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know exactly like how much time that is, like we know the money. Why don't we know how much engineering time was and then kind of just get some more answers around that. So
yeah, I don't, it's not tiny, right? Like
no, certainly not.
I probably spent a week getting my Galaxy-esque setup going on DigitalOcean.
Yeah.
So
the biggest part of transmission is like, it's just helping them communicate more,
Yeah.
I thought we were getting over a hump where the communication was going to be better with MDG. And
yeah,
I'm just shocked by this last week and this show. And like, we got 3 major things we have to cover that's like burning on the edge. Like we have to put the fire out.
Yeah.
It's like, how do these things happen?
I don't know. And they have marketing people, right?
I don't know. I
have a large marketing team. Do they not?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what large would kind of mean. I know a couple of them on there. I really like them.
Yeah.
And you talk to them, you talk to MDG straight on, everything makes sense.
Sure, yeah.
Afterwards. It's purely in the form of communicating. Like that's where the disconnect is. It's not like
someone made a suggestion. We used to have this thing called Vanguard, where it was like top developers that were using Meteor professionally.
Yeah, and you guys would like meet quarterly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I don't know if it's quite quarterly, but there were probably 6 meetups that they had there at MDG, and I flew out for 2 or 3 of them. But there's a lot of people that are interested in continuing to make money off of Meteor in some way, shape, or form, right? I mean, that's where I met Paul in person from OK Grow. Just reach out to some of these people and be like, is this terrible? Is this good? Can we tweak this? Like, I'd be happy to read those releases and tell you this is going to be terrible.
This is the thing that eludes me. Like all the tools, the people, the resources, all of it's there. It's just for some reason, time after time, the dots do not get connected correctly.
Yep. It's unfortunate.
Anyway, with that, we have another transmission show. So I can't be like too hard on them, because like if they were perfect at this, I wouldn't have an opportunity to have a podcast.
Very true. Very true.
So,
all right. So this week,
what are we doing? What podcast are we in right now?
we're going to talk about. Well, I had to get your opinion in here.
But thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people will hear your opinion on the other one too. But, so this week we're gonna talk about an interesting amalgamation of topics here. We're gonna talk about Feathers.js. It's gonna make you fly. Meteor 1.3 release candidate, Aqua. Actually, neither of us are drinking Aqua at the moment.
A little bit. Something green. This is sewer aqua.
This was water at one point. And then Evan, you did an AMA, which I thought was quite interesting as well. So, all right, let's get into it. So
let's dive into it.
Feathers, is it Feathers? Feathers.js? That's what I typed.
Yeah, Feathers.js. So this is like 2.0. I think we did a show when 1.0 was out, right?
Did we?
I think we talked about it. We did. And then that led to us being interested in it. We found out that they worked at Petovi, and then we ended up.
Well, we talked to him about Can.js, right?
Done.js.
Done.js.
Done.js. Yeah. But so, that like came after our interest of Feathers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still don't remember talking about it on the show. Maybe we did, but okay. I remember you and Dean doing a lot of research, and you talked to a lot of people up in Chicago, and a lot of people were like, "We're using Feathers."
We were very interested in it. Yep. To give like people who do not know what Feathers is, it's a really light way on how to like implement like real time back end, front end, data sharing, whatever. Same thing as like what Meteor does, pretty much. And with a really nice API. And it kind of just like came out of nowhere. To us, it seemed like Meteor offered the real-time data, right? A really nice API around it, and then so much more. In fact, like Meteor was developing a huge ecosystem around this idea. Feathers was like a few NPM packages, and then you have that. And it was like a real light version of Meteor. And to us, that was interesting, because like that seems like a more viable way to get that feature done, because ultimately it's just a feature. You don't want a whole ecosystem, right?
Right.
And it's been interesting to me, before we dive into like 2.0, it's been interesting to me to see where the messaging has changed a little bit with Meteor and MDG, where they're not about like real-time data anymore, or like getting a modern stack really easy, but they're pushing for professional developers a really nice environment to develop on. Everything is taken care of for you. It's like they keep you on the happy path from beginning to end, and the end being production grade server hosting. And that's interesting, because ultimately real-time data is just a feature. It's just a feature. And
it is, but it's also, I would say with Meteor, like an expensive feature.
That's the question. Yeah.
So I'd be curious to see like what's the like you know what I really want to I want to see like, and I don't know how to do this, but like a comparable, like here's Crater running with a Feathers backend instead, and like what does that look like? Which I don't, without actually taking the time to get a working app and swap it out. I don't know if
I
that's
don't know. Do you think like it's gonna? I don't think it's a performance boost kind of thing.
well. So the interesting thing is they're using Redis to handle the kind of like the pub sub side of things. And my guess is Redis is maybe a little better than Mongo at this. Maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of interesting things going on in here.
So it's like this. It's on top of it just being like the real time feature, like we all like in Meteor and all stuff. On top of that, they have things that have plagued the Meteor community from day one, which is the ability to be data store agnostic. You could put any kind of backend.
Right. They claim to have over 15, and they have multiple different ORM layers, which, Meteor comes out every time it comes up, and they're like, we're not doing an ORM layer.
Yeah.
But then, probably the funniest part about that is they're creating an ORM layer for the accounts package right now. I stumbled across that last night. And that's an interesting project, but you got to do it if you're going to support multiple databases. There's really you got to have a singular interface that you can interact with.
Yeah. On top of it, it's not trying to take over everything. So you could use Feathers where you want in your app, and then you don't have to have things be reactive in other parts. So it's interesting. I haven't dove into 2.0 at all. And this article that we're going to be linking to kind of seems like a basic overview of Feathers, not necessarily like specifically talking about the 2.0 features.
Right.
So I think like they're trying to still get market share, and 2.0 seems like a pretty solid release.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, sometimes I wonder about like the version numbering conventions, right? Because
yeah, that's what makes me think here.
We're at version 15 of React now, after we were at 0.14, and we're at version 5 of Node. I don't know. I mean, it's interesting because they're saying they're making some breaking changes. Hopefully, that's what they're doing. And I don't know. This has been enough to capture my attention, and I plan on building at least a React Native app that's backed with this, because I have a feeling it's going to be easier than trying to use Meteor to do that. And frankly, it's just, I don't know. I think Feathers is what Meteor wants to be now.
Yeah.
I saw a post from
Sashko. I wouldn't say that.
Well, I saw a post from Sashko, and he said we're working towards being lightweight, easy to use, easy to swap things out, that kind of thing. And they're already there, right? They're using Express instead of Connect, and they're using NPM instead of their own package system. And there's some amount of pain that's going to come along for people that adopt a Meteor when we switch from the current package system to NPM.
Yeah, I think I think the software version of MDG and Apollo and everything, they're going to try and achieve what Feathers does. So I agree with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Which is great. And that's what I've been predicting forever, because I've always been saying Meteor feels like a cult. It needs to join the rest of the modern JavaScript, and they're doing that. And now I'm more passionate than ever for Meteor. And you and I we seriously were wondering what's the next thing for Meteor a couple months back. We're if things don't change, there's we see some serious consequences. So
yeah, well, and I said I wholeheartely believe they're pivoting into Apollo pretty hard. So I think you probably see more of what you're seeing, the Meteor accounts repo, you'll see more projects like that where they're trying to rely on outside people to do the work, and hopefully, we get some better stuff out of it. But at the same time, like there were someone posted this post about Feathers 2.0, and they linked to the product hunt, which they were like, shots fired, because it was like a truly open source real time JavaScript framework.
Yes.
Which you feel like if you're coming from Meteor, you're like, yeah, I get what they're saying.
Here, I'm curious. Let's do the contributor thing here.
Oh yeah, it's really terrible actually.
You said truly open source, so we gotta back that up, right?
I didn't look at the total number, but I did look, and like the two guys building were like at the top of that list.
Yeah, but I would agree that they are not trying. They're building a part of the car. They're not building the car manufacturing factory. I would have to say that MDG is trying to create this whole car manufacturing factory, and Feathers is just like the part of the car. It's like a supercharger plugged into an already existing engine and it's built on top of other parts.
This is failing. I'm not buying your analogy.
Okay.
Like, so which part? Like you're saying like they're building an engine and and
this is like coming into like
MG. You're saying MDG is building the highway. I think not. Like they're still both building cars. It's just MDG is also building the highway, so you can go nice and fast. Yeah.
Yeah, MDG is building cars, but also they're building the plant that builds the cars. They're like building the whole infrastructure, like everything from nuts to bolts or whatever.
It's a super aggressive vision, and I don't know. Like very, very few companies execute something that big well.
That's what I'm saying. Like we've always said, like Meteor's been a very ambitious project.
How do I know?
Feathers plugs into stuff that's already there. It's just like a couple hundred lines of code. It's built on top of Express, Socket.io, and Primus. Like it's a different. They're achieving a similar thing as Meteor in a much, much different way. It's almost like guerrilla warfare. That's a better analogy. Warfare versus the colonists.
You and I maybe have a different view on it, right? Like my guess is these guys are building apps and abstracting the framework out.
Yeah.
Whereas Meteor is building the framework and the tooling, and then trying to figure out how to make it better for app developers. So
exactly.
So the interesting pieces to me again are like Express, and the fact that it's already tied into NPM. Like Connect is I don't think it's being super maintained anymore. And then you have like this oddity that's in fibers, and like there's a whole lot of choices that were made in Meteor that are keeping us at 0.10. Just saying.
Purposeful silence.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done with the analogies for today.
Okay. That's probably good.
Total failure.
Yeah. I don't, for the life of me.
Well, now that we like totally banged Meteor.
11 contributors, right? So now.
Well, there's not a lot. There's really
11.
There's 2. There's 2 real contributors.
31 commits per contributor. I'm just using the same calculations we used on the other ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Like everybody that's not part of core, right? The 2 guys kind of pushing it forward fall under that mark. But I still think that's a healthy ratio.
Definitely a healthy ratio. I think Meteor is going to be able to weather more storms because they got like a dedicated developer group towards developing this stuff. And these guys are working on the side. They're full-time developers at Petovi, building sites for like Walmart and stuff. So
yeah, you say that though, but I almost think like looking at the this accounts package that I ran across last night, and they're working to refactor the whole thing. I actually feel like everything that's being proposed and being worked on is by the people at Rocket Chat, not by the people at MDG. And I feel like in the end, that'll probably be a stronger set of packages because it's not just MDG hired people. Like we're getting exposure from outside of MDG, the company, to work on this. And I gotta say, like, I was up very, very late. And I was very, very angry last night. There's a lot of inconsistencies in the accounts set of packages. So
now that you're
I'm happy to see it. I think it's good that we're getting outside community involvement, and I think that Feathers is going to go places too. I don't know. Is it going to be the Sinatra to MDG's Rails here or something like that? Maybe. Yeah. There's your analogy.
Oh, God. So much better. You're so much better, man.
All right. Let's move on.
I hate you, Josh.
You know what? Honestly, we get to have a whole bunch of fun. I got these guys scheduled for next week for Space Dojo show. I haven't even told you that yet, but
yeah, what? I was just going to recommend that.
Yeah, we're totally going to have them on the show. We're going to talk to both the guys. If you can't make it, Ramsey can fill in. But
Wait a minute here. They're here in Chicago, right?
Are they? I thought they were in Canada.
Who are we talking about here?
Daffel? David.
The guys at Feather?
Luecki? Yeah. He's in Vancouver. He works for Bitovi, but he's in Vancouver. And Eric is in Calgary. Eric Kreisky? I probably butchered those.
What?
Yeah. They're in Canada, bro.
All right.
It's your favorite place, right?
Oh, hey, announcement for everyone. Everyone thinks I live in Toronto.
Ah, that's funny.
That is everyone. I live in Chicago. I live in Chicago, Chi-town.
It looks Toronto-esque behind you. Maybe that's why.
Does it?
I don't know.
I'm in the Civic Opera building downtown in the Loop, right next to
I know where that
green-dyed Chicago River.
Oh yeah, it's still green.
It's always green, actually. It is.
It's like extra green though for St. Patrick's Day.
It is extra green. Yes.
Yeah.
They throw dye in there.
I went up there for St. Patrick's Day one time, and it was quite impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're eating green fish for a month, and then you're like, oh. Just kidding. You shouldn't eat fish.
I don't know what kind of fish you're eating. All right. So Meteor 1.3 release client.
Release candidate.
Yes. Whoops. Release candidate.
No more drinking.
Yeah. So we just like totally like gave Meteor a hard time.
We did.
But this is a perfect segue into 1.3 because a lot of the issues that we were just mentioning that plagued Meteor, earlier versions of Meteor.
I think you dropped.
They are now having NPM support in there. They have testing built in. And why am I like losing my?
You're back.
Oh, okay. Dude, where was I?
Yeah, you're talking about the NPM support. It's too many 3-letter acronyms.
Yeah. But now like Meteor they're recognizing that they need to move more into like the normal JavaScript world, you know?
Yeah.
And this is where Feathers kind of did it right, where Meteor could do better. And now 1.3 is right at our doorstep, and it is a major milestone, a major step forward in that right direction.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the NPM support is pretty huge. Like I cannot, I don't think I can say enough for that personally. Like being able to just pull in Moment and no longer rely on a silly wrapper package is pretty awesome. And like we don't have to go bug a bunch of package maintainers, to add some script or something to help build for Meteor. Like I'm glad that people took on that effort. Luca and Dan and a couple other people like have that whole project to auto build like Bootstrap or Moment or those kinds of things. But now we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Bootstrap's a bad example.
Yeah, because now you're talking about like CSS and compiling pre-compilers and preprocessors and all that stuff.
Which is borked for 1.3.
Yes, there actually is some issues with that.
Yeah. I lost some time on that, but I think they've got a nice list too. If you haven't seen it yet, it's like post 1.3 issues, which I'm not sure I fully agree with adding new stuff in 131, but it looks like they're going to push more stuff. After 1.3, they're going to try to get a 1.3.1 out within a couple weeks. That
like census. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm trying to decide if you're trolling me or not.
No, I'm totally not.
Oh,
that has me fired up, so I just had to throw it in there.
Yeah, I said my piece on the Meteor forums about census. Here's the thing. Like, if I were trying to get funding for a company, I would absolutely go build something like census, and I would absolutely stick unique IDs on every application ever created automatically over and over again, even if you delete the ID. Like, those are the actions I would probably take to help me have the data I need to go get more funding.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like census is even taking it a step further. They're going to be able to figure out like IP addresses, where they're being hosted. They're going to be able to like plug a lot of this data in and be like, hey, we'll host you over here, right? We'll give you a free trial. Like, it's definitely, it feels, I don't want to say schmarmy, but not 100% right either, especially like installing census by default.
So another plug for transmission. Maybe I was trolling you. I didn't even realize it subconsciously.
Yeah, you were.
My apologies.
You knew
I'm a natural troll, I guess. You can call me out from now on it because I need to recognize when I'm trolling. But like another plug, we have Zoltan on this show, and who's the head of the Meteor group now, or project for MDG.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be talking specifically on census and what they were thinking and why they actually needed to do this, if there was a better way to do it. Try to get a better idea of like their frame of mind.
Yeah.
Releasing this. So.
Yeah. I think, if this were done by other companies, Apple says like, can we use some anonymized data to make this better? But like an IP address is not anonymized data.
No. Apple collects stuff and they highly depend on what version of the OSs you're running on, because they make that like a pretty big spot in their announcements, talking about user adoption and upgrades and how it's better than the average. So I could see like Meteor wanting to do that.
Yeah, I don't really have a huge problem with collecting some data. I wish it were more upfront, more explicit, more understanding around what they're going to do with the data. I don't necessarily think they have to tell us what they're going to do with the data, but at least don't make it private data. Like there was a good bit I would consider stuff that I don't necessarily want to share with them.
Yeah.
So, but that's not making it into 1.3.
No, but you were mentioning 1.3.1.
Yes.
Which that probably will make it in a version of it.
Yes.
Not the current one, because luckily they are receptive to everything that was said in the forums. So.
Yeah, there's 46 open issues in this list I was talking about for post 1.3. But, like if we focus on, I'm actually kind of curious now, history. VNext, yeah, they haven't bothered to start writing the history of the change logs for this yet. But there's a lot going in. But I think the biggest thing to me is going to be that npm support and the module support, right? Like that goes hand in hand. So we're able to say, import blah 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 from this file, which I think, now that I've been working with it for like a month or so, I like it a lot better. Like it's maybe it feels like more typing, but at the same time, when I open a file, I know what's being used in that file and can make sure that, I don't know, now you can like grep or do a search for where it's referenced. Like, I think it's going to be a lot better for tooling and just for general developer experience.
I agree. And people need to understand like how to structure their app in order to achieve this in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely want to push people to the Meteor guide to understand 1.3.
Yeah, there's going to be some interesting stuff there. I don't know that I wholeheartedly agree with everything in the Meteor guide, but it's definitely a good project.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, in order to like get the correct imports and everything, you need to structure your folders the correct way. So along with the module support, like that makes testing a whole lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
So finally, Meteor's testing story is like going to be legit.
Yeah. I still don't want to touch it for like another month or so.
I'm curious. What do you mean by that? I saw that tweet.
I think I'd rather wait for other package developers to get involved and like say, yeah, we officially support 1.3. Here's how to do it. Like, I have spent so much of my recent life history in Meteor testing in one form or another that I just feel like I've lost so much time every time something changes. Like, I just want to wait until it feels stable. It does not feel stable.
Okay.
Like, we're still just one release removed from saying velocity is dead. I mean, it works in 1.2. It's not going to work in 1.3. I don't know. I'm going to wait.
Okay.
Maybe next month I'll start writing some tests for a client if they want.
You know, and like for some context for people who are listening, like I understand, I know exactly what you mean when you say that, because I know what you've done before. Like,
yeah,
you had the testing book.
Yeah.
You and Sam worked together on a professional like course.
Yeah. We've given that training twice. Things changed 100% between the two courses, which were eight months apart. And then we actually had a video version ready to go that we were going to release and sell. And like less than a month after the class, like everything changed again. And then, what was it, December? We decided velocity was dead. So we gave the class in August. By September, we had synchronous support in Cucumber. Then we switched to Chimp. Now velocity's dead.
Well, and unit testing and end-to-end testing, like you could use mainstream stuff. Like, you don't need anything meteorized.
Yeah. But I mean, you still do to some extent, right? They wrote this Mocha driver package. So I guess that's what I'm waiting on, is for people to say, like, yeah, we got our driver packages taken care of. Like, you don't have to worry about that.
That is interesting. Yep. Yeah. So we Transmission did a show last week about testing. Driver packages was a big thing. I'm like,
yep,
who's going to make this stuff?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't, again, like now we're looking at something akin to a wrapper package that lives on Atmosphere. Like, I get that you have to do some amount of work to get it to work with Meteor, but for me, like if I were thinking about testing, I'd be looking at Enzyme or something, like let's just stay out of the Meteor stuff until it feels stable.
Mm-hmm.
But the story will get better. It
will get better. That's what I was going to say. Too Long didn't read. The Transmission show ended up being that, Meteor didn't want to like build specialized tools for testing. They wanted to make Meteor capable of just using the tools that are already out there.
Right. And that's the right call.
That's a huge message that's the right message.
Yeah.
So it will get better.
Yeah.
All right. Talking about getting better, sharing contact information. Right? Like, it's such a pain.
Yes.
Like, so here in Chicago, we are, we're Chicagoans. We do things the old way, man. And business cards are really important out here, right? Well, OK Grow has a strict policy, no business cards. I don't know if it's strict, but I've been pushing for them and I haven't gotten them. So what do? I fuddle around with the phones. We try to make a LinkedIn connection. It just doesn't work out. So then we just don't connect that much. Well, our boy Max Savan came out with a solution called Aqua.
Is it Savan or Savin? I always thought it was Savin.
I don't know. I'm just gonna say it's my Chicago accent.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Max is saving a lot. No, it's like Aquaman, right?
Yeah.
Kung Fu Panda. He's the man of a million like nicknames.
Panda Man.
Anyway, so if you guys recall, Max was the creator of Meteor Toys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So he is now introducing Agua, which is a way to kind of share social contact information easily. And it's a mobile app built on Meteor. And yeah.
So I think it's Aqua, not Agua, right?
Again, Chicago accent.
Acquaintances.
This must be like a comparison between Illinois and Ohio.
Yeah. Yeah. Or Ben and the rest of the world. Totally trolling you back today. So, so number one, I think this is interesting. You know, he's built this Meteor app. I think using Cordova, and I don't know. Like he showed it off to me. I think it's a fun idea.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he said he plans to take it deeper, but the idea is like, you know, when you meet someone, instead of passing off the business card, you get their email address, and like it'll send your digital business card to them, and then you kind of have all that point of contact in place, which is interesting. I remember Evernote did something similar to this a while ago, where you could put people in and like it would try to suss out their information on its own. Like you take their picture and put in their email address and name, and then it would like try to figure out the rest.
Yeah. There was an app that got a little bit of social lift too, where it was like called Bump or something like that. You like
Yeah.
put two phones together. And,
Yeah, I used to have that. Yeah, it was like Bluetooth.
Yeah.
You know, the bump part of it was goofy, but whatever. Not really needed. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. You know what I think would be super fun is like you take someone's picture and try to figure out them on social media or something.
Oh my gosh.
It's a doable thing.
It's totally doable. Oh my gosh, it's so creepy and doable.
Yeah. So, you know, I'll say this. Like, I've gotten good at finding people on the internet. My sister-in-law, she was dating some people, and she was using a dating site, and she'd be like, can you guys find more info about these people? And I'd be like, yeah, just send me their profile. And like, you know, just using their picture, you could usually go find all their dating.com. Well, I don't remember what site it was, but you can do a lot of creepy things.
Oh my gosh, you just like
cyber
letting everyone know that you're a creepster.
Totally.
Anyway, talking about avatar photos and all that stuff, we have a great member in the Meteor Club, and he changed his avatar so we can finally see his face. And I had to coax the guy to do it. I really appreciate him. But my what I was going to give back was a shout out on the show if he did it, and he finally did it. So much love to Yusef.
Yeah, with this Harry Potter looking picture.
Dude, it's cool, man. I like it.
It is, but it's like it's got like oh my god, this.
The train is trolling you so bad.
Totally. I got the window open today. If you're watching the YouTube version, you can see it over there. It's like 10 times louder now. But yeah, no, he's got like a little pointy hood on. It's quite funny. But no, I was glad he finally did that because he was just like this youth. Like no one knew what he looked like.
No, and he kind of was saying like, my photo is nowhere on the internet.
Yeah.
So like people like you can't do a photo search.
Yeah.
And like,
Exactly.
Anyway,
I think we're only like maybe a year away. Like the NSA probably has the tech to like really do a deep search and be like, yes, we spotted him across all these cameras.
Remember when Android was, and I never had an Android. I don't know more. I remember
You're cutting out, man.
by just smiling, and it.
What was that? You seem back now.
Hello.
We lost Ben. Are you back?
Oh my gosh. Am I back?
Yeah, you seem back. Just don't move on the camera too much.
Oh my gosh. Were you able to hear my voice that whole time?
Yeah, it was like all electronic, like.
That's what happens when you mention NSA.
Yeah,
Jeez.
that's what happens. Totally.
I was gonna say, like, Android had that feature where you can smile at your phone. It would do a facial recognition and unlock the phone.
Mm.
So no swiping, no code.
Yeah.
Code.
You know, it's funny. We actually, when I was at Gaslight, this is way back when, we had a client that came in and wanted to basically do that same thing before Android did it. And like they had all this different stuff going on. Like they were able to use the phone light to like change the color on the face, and then they would be able to run the facial recognition and phone software. It was a really, really interesting project, but they didn't get funding. But no, I like the idea of Aqua, your social business card. I guess it doesn't actually say business card. If nothing else, go read this post because there's a funny picture of Trump at the end. So,
and go ahead and download the app.
That too.
You know, Max is huge on feedback. So
yeah.
So hit him up. Check it out on Product Hunt.
Yes. Tweet him.
Over. Good stuff. All right. The last topic of the day. We have Evan Yu, previously with Meteor Development Group, so MDG staffer. And he is known for Vue.js. He's the creator and maintainer of Vue.js. And he had an AMA.
He did.
On Hashnode.
I had never even heard of Hashnode, so it was very interesting to
Neither
go.
Have I.
Yeah, go read all this. But you know, the thing I always found interesting about the Evan Yu hire is like, why did we hire a guy heading up another project that wasn't React or wasn't Blaze to come work on Meteor? Like, I get maybe he had some. No, I don't even think he'd have a lot of insight, right, to like how to support multiple front end frameworks. Like he would have to also develop that insight. Like just because I write a front end framework doesn't mean I know how to like easily let other frameworks do the same thing. Meteor, right?
Yeah.
I mean, would you agree with that?
Maybe he was coming in to be like the maintainer of Blaze. Who knows what the plans were?
Yeah. Well, you know, and that's the other interesting thing I found out is like there was no hoorah about it, but it was more than just 3 people that left Meteor in that last round with Evan. David Greenspan is also one that we now know about.
Yeah.
Which, you know, he pushed Blaze forward quite a bit. That was a big project for him when it came out. So we did lose some knowledge there on the MDG team. Yeah, I don't know. Like it's really, really interesting to read a lot of these answers. But really, I think the core one as a Meteor fan you might care about is, you know, Azamat asked, this is a little personal, but what happened to Meteor? What are your future plans? Is your newborn girl or a boy? And he said, yes, I left Meteor. It was a combination of quite a few things. Meteor as a framework is now front-end agnostic, which makes the front-end work mostly just integrating React and Angular, and the company doesn't seem interested in supporting Vue strategically. So again, like I question, why'd they hire him? I mean, I realize like he's a smart guy. Like you want to hire smart people. But at the same time, like clearly his passion was somewhere else. And Meteor as a company is now primarily positioned as a platform as a service, and the focus of the company has an increasingly smaller overlap with my technical interest, which I think would probably apply to Vital and David Greenspan as well. You know, like building a hosting business is just kind of like run of the mill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of interesting. And then he said Vue is growing faster than he thought.
The internet. This is crazy.
So I find it interesting that he said Vue is growing faster than he thought.
Yeah, I think it's all based off of the support that all the passionate believers have. What, like, I hear of Vue.js more than I thought I ever would. You know, I would think I would hear of Blaze more in the world, and Vue.js just seems to be like taking off.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I mean, I would agree with that, but at the same time, like the only way you can get Blaze right now is to, install Meteor. And that's just not true of Angular or React or Vue. So
yeah, again, like you just mentioned that, like Vue is in the same competition with Angular and React.
Yeah,
like that's another reason why it's like kind of surprising. So
yeah. Anyway, I don't want to say too much about it, but this I think this is worth going to read, especially if you like Evan or you ran across him in the forums or in an issue. Like I think he's an interesting guy to follow, and honestly, I want to try to get him on to talk more about Vue.js on Space Dojo show as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Evan's a really interesting guy. I really enjoyed listening or reading his answers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had a really good perspective on everything, and he seems like an insane dude that like works all hours to like get stuff out the door. So
yeah, he said trying to find it now somewhere in here, oh, there it was. Let me go back. Oh, come on. That basically he would be up till 1 or 2 a.m. every night, like in addition to his normal job, like trying to yeah, here it is. How do you manage building and supporting a successful library outside of your day job? Have you considered having a company sponsor your development work? He said it does take a lot of time and effort. I think during the 1.0 release process, I worked until 1 to 2 a.m. almost every day. But I guess the biggest reason is because I'm passionate about it, so I enjoy working on it most of the time. I definitely hope some company would sponsor. He's actually started a Patreon, so you can go look up the article if you want to support him.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting to me. And, I've had I think we had a subsequent conversation in the Space Dojo chat room talking about how do you make an open source project successful? Sasha talks about struggling with getting contributors on board with Telescope. And, I think you hear similar problems, right? People are interested in working with Meteor, but what's the size of the user base? There's 8,000 people on the forums. So that's a large user base. And how many potential contributors do you find out of that? We've got 260 or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty small number. So
mm-hmm.
It's very, very hard to grow an open source project.
Yeah, another guy down the list asked him about the bus factor. If Evan's the only guy making Vue.js, and so it's interesting. You guys should definitely check out this webpage and see what Evan's answer is to that.
Yeah,
I like the guy. He definitely tell that he is super smart, super ambitious, and MDG really only hires those type of people. So
yes,
yeah.
All right,
very cool.
Wrap it up. We were long-winded today.
Holy cow!
So, I'm these guys aren't sponsoring, but I got a compose.io t-shirt too.
That's a cool shirt.
Yeah, I like it. It's 8-bit. So this week's sponsors are DigitalOcean and Modulus.io. So if you're looking for hosting, both of those are great options. I host sites at both places. Check them out.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you want to directly support me, the show, the chat room, creator, all that kind of stuff, you can go to Patreon, patreon.com/Meteor Club. I really should figure out if I can change that to Space Dojo. And $10 a month will get you into the chat room. And it still blows my mind how awesome that chat room is. It's definitely the best one I'm part of, but I'm also biased.
Besides my company chat room, that's the only one I really pay attention to.
Nice.
Just because of the quality of what gets posted and the people who are in there. So
I bet if we got some Slack stats, you probably pay more attention to Space Dojo than OK Grow, though. No, not true. You're gonna say that.
I gotta say, OK Grow is like,
I hear it's pretty funny.
It is a hilarious Slack room. Like, we have such a fun time.
Yeah.
It's actually, I think it's higher than.
Nice.
We're just full of goofballs. I can't believe we get work done.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in this week. We'll be back next week talking about all the creator news. See ya.
Ciao.
This video has been a Space Dojo production. You can click the Learn More button to find out more about us at spacedojo.com. Or you can click the subscribe button to get notified about new videos we put out each week. Thanks for watching.